You guys. I wanted to share my story with you today, and I'm going to be very honest with you that I'm trying to condense it as much as possible. There's a lot to the background of why I became a coach, but I want to share it with you because I feel like there are some misconceptions that you have to either have a great fitness transformation or you have to be some kind of nutrition or fitness expert to be a coach. And neither of those are the case for me. So I did not become a coach for the fitness aspect. Luckily for me, I've kind of always been into fitness. I was very active in high school. Still to this day, I like to do team sports and I like to compete, specifically in triathlons for me. But my problem was I would get into fitness. I've liked being in shape, but my nutrition was always really poor. So I always had 10 to 15 pounds after having my children that would hang around, and I would kind of fall off the fitness wagon. I would find a competition I wanted to do, train for that, get back in shape, get kind of burnt out, and then repeat the cycle all over again. So that is kind of my fitness history. I have had a huge fitness transformation since I've been a coach, but that's really not the reason why I became a coach. I have 5 children, 1 bonus daughter, and 4 boys, and I had my first son when I was 22. So, actually, I'm sorry, I think I was 21 when he was born. See, I'm also getting old, and I don't remember everything that's happened in my life now. All these children are sucking the life out of me. But anyway, I had my son when I was 21, and I was in college, and my husband and I we did not start our life out very well financially. When you have a child in college, and especially I'm a teacher during the day, so I had to do student teaching and things like that, and I had this child that I also had to provide childcare for, but I wasn't bringing in an income. And my husband is one of the hardest workers I know, but we were not rolling in the bucks. He's not a doctor or a lawyer, so we didn't have a great financial background. So we had taken out student loans so that we could survive. And then I get my first teaching job, and it's a pretty decent salary. We're making some good money. And when you go from making nothing to making a decent amount of money, and you're not planning your financial future very well, you continue to make some poor choices. So we were taking vehicles out on loans. We bought a house that we probably weren't quite ready for. We lived paycheck to paycheck, even though we were making really good money, and we kind of just made ends meet by using credit cards. I think it's hard to have some of those financial talks, and it was really hard for me to ever say no, and he wasn't as involved in the finances as I was. So we got ourselves into a really big hole. I also got my master's degree. I got an endorsement on my teaching license, so I was continuing to go to school for like 3 or 4 years while I was continuing to have kids. And I would just keep taking out student loans because that was easy. It was helping us pay the bills and things like that. So fast forward to I'm pregnant with my 4th son. And a lot of our life choices had been weighing heavily on us. I taught at a year-round school, and that was really hard for me because my kids were off in the summer and I couldn't be home with them. And every child that I was sending to childcare, it got a little bit harder because I wanted to be home with them. Or I for sure at least wanted to be home with them more. And we didn't have that option. I was not able to be a stay-at-home mom. We literally could not afford it. We had way too many bills. So I'm going through the pregnancy with our last son. We had these decisions weighing heavily on our heart. We knew that I was probably going to start looking for some school district positions so that I could have more of a summer off type schedule. And, I followed Dave Ramsey, and we were not very great about following Dave Ramsey, honestly. It was more of my effort. But one of the principles is that when you have something life-changing coming up, so pregnancy for us, or if you were facing unemployment or a move, things like that, you stop paying off your debts, you just pay the minimum and you pile cash up. So I knew I wanted to be home with my son for at least 12 weeks. I didn't quite have that much time saved up at work, so we were saving up money for that. Plus, against my better wishes, I was just saving up all the money in case an emergency happened. I didn't really think an emergency was going to happen. I'd had very easy pregnancies. I was fairly healthy. My kids were all healthy. So I felt like saving this money up was really kind of a waste. And truth be told, we actually were going to take a vacation during maternity leave with some of this money. So even though we were in debt. And at this point, we were close to $100,000 in debt. And granted, we had been paying off debt for 4 years, but what would happen was we would pay $15,000 to $20,000 off, and then we would take a loan out for something. Like we bought a camper, we bought a new vehicle. I mean, we just were not making smart decisions. So, but when you make a good living, it can be really difficult to tell yourself no, and we just were not in the financial mindset yet. So anyway, getting ready to have my son, and he was born in February of 2014, and 10 days before he was born, I lost my job. I carried the insurance for our family. My husband and I each had a competitive salary. We made about the same amount of money, so that was half of our income. I had all this time saved up to take off for leave, maternity leave. And then I lost my job. And what was even worse for me was, although I was in a really toxic job environment, I lost my job without cause. So it was really tough for me to take. Plus, I'm 10 days away from my due date, and, I felt like my world was crumbling. So I took some time. I actually felt a great sense of relief after I was out of that environment. But then when I looked at our bills, I knew I needed to work. And I crunched the numbers that night after I had let go. I woke up at 2 a.m. and I crunched the numbers. And I knew realistically to make it, I needed to bring in like $2,500 a month just to make it for our family. So have my son. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I'm looking at substitute teaching. I'm looking at applying for jobs in the school district. But my biggest fear was that I was going to have to go find a night waitressing job 2 weeks after he was born just to make ends meet. And I had told my husband, if I don't get a school district job, I'm not going to go back to work. I'm going to work nights, or I'm going to do something else, because I'm tired of sending our kids to someone else to raise them. But I knew we needed the income. I knew I just couldn't stay home because we had over $90,000 in debt. So about 4 weeks after he's born, I'm looking at options. We were sneaking by because we had that savings that we'd been building up for 9 months. And so we're cutting corners, we're doing everything we can, and I post on Facebook about, does anybody have any great at-home job opportunities, because I really want to stay home with my baby. And Ariel, my coach, and we went to high school together, so we were already in contact with each other. I kind of already knew what she did, and she contacted me and just said, hey, have you ever considered being a fitness coach? And sure, I had definitely considered it. I mean, I was already into fitness. I kind of understood how being a coach worked, but this had to fit within my budget. I had done I had been a salesman for another company selling food products, and that had kind of killed me because I had to spend so much overhead. I never really made a good income, plus I had to do home parties, and that was more time away from my family, which I didn't want to do. So I thought about it for a couple weeks, and then I just decided to dive in, and I told myself, if this cannot pay for itself, because I wanted to use Shakeology every month, and of course my $15.95 coach fee, if I couldn't cover that every month, then I couldn't be a coach. So I dove right in from the beginning, and I have covered the cost of my product since my very first month. And I'm just continuing to build this business. Now, my hope for this business, and what I kind of realized was possible after a few months, was to be a full-time working from home mom, so that I can be with my kids, work the hours during nap time or before they wake up, but I'm still providing a great income for my family. So I've been a coach for about 16 months now, and in that time, my family and I survived 6 months of unemployment. BeachBody helped pay for part of that. And then once I started earning my teaching salary in August of 2014, so from August 2014 until now, we have paid off over $30,000 in debt. I have children that, like dental work, we seem to be accident prone for that. So between braces, my child knocked out his 2 front teeth, and then my baby ended up having to get tubes. We have paid over $7,000 in cash and medical bills in just 2015 alone. Right now we are on track to be completely debt-free by June of 2016. And that is what I'm shooting for. Depending on how my business is going at that point in time, I potentially am going to retire as a teacher. It kind of depends on housing, what that looks like for us, because I live in a high house market. But honestly and truly, I don't anticipate teaching more than 2 years at the most, and I'm going to be working full time from home. And that's all because of BeachBody. I'm not quitting and not bringing in a second income, but we plan on being debt-free, plus replacing my teaching salary, and then getting to work from home and being home with my kids. You know, this is not a job where I work more than 4 hours a day, and 4 hours is really pushing it at this. Like right now I'm home in the summer, so I'm spending a little more time doing things, but normally when I'm working full-time, I work 2 hours a day. And that's just because I'm really growing my business. You can get a lot done in this business in an hour a day. So that's what works for me. I don't really take a lot of time away from my family. I do some things at night as far as team calls and things like that. But otherwise, I work early in the morning or during lunch, or in the summer, I work during nap time because that's what's open for me. So yeah, financially is really the reason I became a coach, and I'm definitely going to be a financial success story. Mentally, coaching has really, really been one of the best things I've ever done. Personal development is one of our vital behaviors, and the way I've changed as a person, my mindset, my positivity, the things I will allow people to do to me, and just the way I treat people and the different types of people I've attracted into my life because of my attitude change has been huge. And I have become a lot more physically fit, which I'm very excited about. But honestly and truly, the reason I became a coach was because of financial reasons. So, and that's what I hope to offer all families, is that financial freedom. So anyways, thank you for listening to my story. If you have any questions, any feedback, please post below. I don't get offended. Anything you want to say, I'm really open to it. So I really hope you consider this opportunity fully, and that you know the potential that's in this business. There are some amazing people in this business, and there are some amazing people that we know could be in this business, and that's part of the reason why we invited you into this group. So I really hope you look at it and see if this is something that fits into your life. Have a great Wednesday. I'll talk to you guys later.